Good afternoon, everyone. So this afternoon, I'm going to discuss about population, environment, and natural resources. So what is all about? So to give you an overview, an environment are affected in a number of ways, especially in human activity. The second one is an environment crisis may be defined as a situation demanding immediate corrective action, if such is possible, to avert deterioration, damage, or destruction of the affected system. So, some human activities such as the exploitation of the environment and natural resources. Second one is the high population level and growth rate. The third one is the search for fresh agricultural and grazing land. So these are the human activities that can affect environment. So the second one is the carrying capacity under the population, environment, and natural resources topic. So this carrying capacity defined as the number of people that Earth can support without irreversibly reducing its capacity to support population in the future. So our Earth has a intensive capacity nga pwede niya makarry. So kung malampas na ana mo na siyang gitawag og overpopulated and can affect the resources or the natural resources. So dapat balance ang natural resources and the carrying capacity of the environment. So kay ma-deteriorate ang usa ka natural resources kung ma-overpopulated na siya. So the third one that I will be tackling is the population and the environment. So what is this all about? So environmental problem may be grouped under three categories. So the three categories are resources deterioration, environmental pollution, and the radioactivity from nuclear weapons and nuclear energy production. So mo ni siya ang mga environmental problem ng kasagaran mo affect sa atong environment. So mo ni ang mga categories nga una nga makaguba sa atong environment. Kaning pollution, kaning radioactivity from nuclear weapons and mga nuclear energy production. So these are the categories nga gitan-aw sa atong government nga maka-affect. So the next one is the population and the natural resources. Gi-analogy ni siya ang duha ka word, ang population ug ang natural resources, because dapat balance ni silang duha. Rapid population growth demands for the use of exploitation of these resources, and our country's population depends on the natural resources like food, clothing, shelter, and etc. So in the Philippines, we are more than 100 million. So gitawag ta og rapid population growth. So kaning pagpaspas nga pagtaas sa atong populasyon, usa ni siya nga gitan-aw nga rason nga maguba ang atong environment ug magkuwang ang atong mga natural resources. Kaya ang atong nasod nakadepende lang siya sa mga natural resources nga naata. So the fourth one nga akong i-tackle is ang land resources. Kay it's very useless kung natay land resources pero dili enough sa atong capacity, sa atong population rate. So I will be tackling about the land resources. In the Philippines, natay gitawag nga 32% of land is classified as agricultural. So the farming community must provide enough food to feed the growing population. So karon ang atong in these recent days daghan na og mga professional rather than farming community, farmers. So ang mahitabo is magkulang na ang atong food supplies. So kinahanglan ating i-encourage nga to go farming gihapon ang mga tao. Then land resources, in spite of the trends, the agricultural sector in the country remain as one of the largest single contributor to the national economy. The third one is the current demands for higher production threaten the sustainability of land resources. So magkuwang atong land resources. Other factors that aggravate the vulnerability of land resources such as climate change, soil erosion, and depletion of soil nutrients due to the abusive of agricultural chemical products. So, we need to take care our natural resources kay moabot ang panahon nga magkulang ni siya. So, as early as now, I encourage everyone to take care of it. Kay, anha na bata mo mohimo og mga ways, preventive ways sa atong natural resources kung huli na ang tanan. So, that would be all about population, environment, and natural resources. So, that would be all. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. So, this is my report, the Module 9, the population perspective. So my topic is all about population and sustainable development. So, improving the quality of life of all Filipinos has been overarching concern of development efforts in the Philippines. So, we all know that there are rapid growth of population here in the Philippines. So then, meaning of population. So when we say population, this generally refers to the number of people living in a given area. So some sociologists, for example, is Hawley, 1971, defined population as an aggregate of individuals who have access to the environment as a means of sustenance and who are in the state of interdependence. So, matawag og population ang group of individuals nga nag-access sa environment and other natural resources. So, to sociologists, population is the number of persons occupying a certain geographical area. So, drawing subsistence from their environment and interacting with one another. So, tawag po ng population of number of people in a certain geographical area then interacting with one another. So there are socialization. So there are demographical study is a vital importance as it gives data on population, its condition and possible effects on society. So tay gitawag nga demographical study nga nag-give siya importance sa data sa population ug ang effects niya sa society. So there are components of population. First is the population growth. So in order to study or compute or calculate the population growth, so we will use demography, a scientific study of human populations including size, its composition, distribution, density, growth, related socioeconomic characteristics, and the causes and consequences of changes in population. So we all know na naadjud na siya mga consequences even if gamay ra ang tao or damo ang tao sa usa ka area. So second, there are also second components or the population growth, which is the growth rate. So growth rate refers to the rate at which population is increasing or decreasing. So siya. Ang example ani is ang surplus or deficit of births over deaths and net migration. So mo ni siya iyahang formula sa growth rate. Births minus sa deaths plus sa net migration, then over or divided by total population times 100. So I have as I've searched siya ang atong population from year 2017 is 105,172,925. So na siya yearly change no 1.46%. So pag abot sa 2018 na siya 106,651,294 populationary sa Philippines. So yearly change niya is 1.41%. Then sa pag-abot sa 2019 na-estimated nga population there sa Philippines, which is 108,116,615, which is yearly change nga 1.37%. So sa year 2020 na siya estimated nga ang Philippines is ang population will be 109,581,078, which is 1.35% yearly change. So the another components of population will be the population structure. So population pyramid. So according siya the age sex structure of a population. So describes according to the number of males and females in a given age group. So nako example. So, muna siya example sa population pyramid. So, look. So, ang population pyramid daw, it is a special type of bar chart that shows the age and sex distribution of the population. So, there are 3 general types of pyramids. The first is expansive. So, naitulo. Expansive ang pinakauna. So, ang expansive, nag-explain siya, which has a broad base indicating a high proportion of children and a rapid growth of population. So, ang example ani is Philippines. So, we all know that ang Philippines, ang age structure niya is 14 years old below. So, more of. So, the second type of pyramid is the constructive. So, constructive, it has a base that is narrower than the middle of the pyramid, usually a result of a recent rapid decline in fertility affecting the younger group. So, ang example ani is ang bansa nga Singapore. So, the third types of population pyramid is the stationary, which has a narrow base with approximately equal numbers in each subsequent age group. So, kani siya nga types sa population pyramid, ang all types sa age group sa bata, iguang is equal lang siya. So, for example, ana niya nga country which has stationary population pyramid is the Germany. So another component of population is the spatial distribution. So, population density or the number of population per square meter of land area shows the spatial distribution of population. So, ang population density or the number of population per square meter. So sa spatial distribution na ang fertility. So, mara na ito makuha ng fertility. The first determinant of population change, so fertility or birth. So, every time nga na ay mga baby nga born, so ang atong population will be increased by 1. So, every na ay kuan. So, the second determinant of population change is the mortality or death. So, taga na ay mamatay nga usa, so ang atong population will be decreased by 1. So, automatic na siya. Then, the third is the migration. So, migration, it is described as a relatively permanent movement of a person over a significant distance. So, for example, ani ang gikan sa gikan sa rural to urban. So, ang gikan sa bukid mga to sa city. And then, natin gitawag na international migration. So, the movement of person or people from one country to one another. So, it will be called international migration. Then, immigration, it is inward movement into a country. So, ang padungad to ka. Then, the immigration refers to the departure from a country. So, if nagkuha na siya, immigration ang tawag if mulakaw ka na ang country or muhawa na sa departure. So, that's all. Thank you!
Morning classmates, my topic for today is all about a social control. So what is a social control? So social control is the attempt by the society to regulate the people's thought and behavior. For example of this is our government who regulates and implement laws for us to remain organized and peaceful. So this is simply known as the control sa lipunan. So we have types of social control. So the first one is the internal social control, which means the process of internalizing the norms and stands of a given society. So for example of this is the people who makes the law, who internalize the law that is to be followed by the netizens. So the key terms of this is the socialization. So socialization is very important because people will understand each other. So number 2 is the external social control. So this is an effort to rectify or reform people who violate norms, and through a system of reward, positive punishment and negative punishment. So for example of this is inside in a family, so where the mother will give you punishment, so it can be positive or negative. So for example, positive is that you will gain that makes you happy, and negative punishment, so yeah, so well, the negative punishment is that what makes you happy will be taken away from you. So the third one is the informal social control. So this is an interpersonal action between and among people in response to a good or bad behavior. So for example of this is the your peer and community pressure, bystander intervention in a crime, collective responses such as citizen patrol groups. So this is being manifested by facial expression or an action. So for example of this is the smile or a frown. So if you have a bad or good behavior, so you will know the response of your the other individual. So number 4 is the formal social control. So means to ensure the observance of laws using the agent of the government like the police, the army, the social welfare agency or the courts. So these agents are tasked to ensure the conformity, to enjoy the mandate from the constitution and other laws of the state. So they are being paid to organize or to regulate the laws that should be followed by a person. So there are following types of social control that makes individual follow the given norms. So the first one is the informal social control. So this is best observed in a primary group, so small groups, small society like in a remote rural areas where people know each other. So controlled by a self-restraint exercise because of the fear of an individual to what others think. So diba, we are like that, so we think what others will think about us. So we are being we basta mo na to. So number 2 is the formal social control. So when society becomes more complex, so this is all about the whole state. So this is for big groups. So formal social control is needed to maintain order among the members. So rules are written down and laws are specified. So formal social control involves an organized system of specialized agencies and standard techniques. So there are two main types. So the first one is instituted by agencies other than the state. So for example, we have different agencies that implemented their rules and regulation also. They have their own rules. So number 2 is imposed by the political state. So this is for everybody. So you should also follow this one. This is for the whole country. So according to Holsteiner Sanchez in 1987 in her study entitled Social Control, the Individual and Social Change, so identified different mechanisms to encourage conformity in the society. So the first one is the pakikisama. So pakikisama is very important, right? So number 2 is the tendency to level an individual who is out of line. So encourage everyone to level up. So number 3 is indirect method of criticism or gossip. So criticism has a big impact to a certain people, a certain person. So they will, for example, lose their confidence. So number 4 is curbing of antisocial attitudes by making a person painfully aware of his or her shortcomings. For example of this is posting a personal problem in Facebook. So this is not good anyway. So you should educate them or advise them. That's all. Thank you.
So when we say life, it is a precious. Life is very precious and very one. So there are never-ending debates about the legality and morality of abortions and birth control, and particularly in these questions, when does life begin? The nations have different stance, positions, and ideas on this issue. Some countries say that there is no abortions and there is no life. So this is argued between nations, between people, that when is the life begin? When is the naman ba ang legality and morality ng birth control sa ilan nasyon sa kalibutan? So this when does the life begin question, there are many philosophers who are trying to answer that. Philosophers, physicians, and various organizations. So first is Hippocrates mentioned that fertilization marks the beginning of human life. When the fertilization do not occur, according to Hippocrates, the human life begin, and it was supported by the Pythagoreans, the time of fertilizations. Then according to Hindu belief, the soul enters the body during the conception. When we say conceptions, is to produce another time of fertilizations. During the fertilization, the soul entered to the body according to Hindu belief, and it was written into Vedic literatures by Hindu. When we say Vedic, it is written by Hindu language or word. Then according to Saint Thomas Aquinas and Saint Augustine people, fetus were animated, adapting Aristotle term ensoulment. So fetus kuno are animated. When we say animated is the full of life and energy, and it was adapted by the word ensoulment by Aristotle, according to Saint Thomas and Saint Augustine. Now we're going to the Catechism of the Catholic Church established that human life must be respected. So human life must be respected and protected, absolutely from the moment of conception, according to Catechism of the Catholic Church, because life is very precious, and when the time of conception happens, from the first moment of his existence, a human being is recognized as having the rights of persons, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent beings to life. And now we are going to Babylonian. According to Talmud Yevamot 690, oral law of the Jewish states that the embryo is considered to be mere water until the 40th day. When we say mere, is the something small or something gamay na ito the 40 days. According to Talmud Yevamot, the same as like yes to the other philosophers and organizations. And according to Dr. Hailey Gordon, chairman of the Department of Genetics and the Mayo Clinic, state that by all the criteria of modern molecular biology, life is present from the moment of conception. So it's same that which happens here, the same of conception. Then the terms of conception, terms of fertilization, na it was supported by the University of South Carolina, na nag-state sa embryo is a new human life which has energy and a direction of its own from the moment of conception. So it's very important here. All the one is the same as the thoughts. Then according to Association of Pro-Life Physicians, life is unquestionably human. Hindi po na kay a human being is a member of the species Homo sapiens. We are a member of species of the Homo sapiens. This is one scientific word of a human existing. Human beings are produced of conception, which is when a human womb sperm unites with a human female cells. So the human life was produced through when the two cells was united, the sperms and the egg cells of the female and male was united to cause the conception when it was occur and the fertilization, and that the life begin. So we're products of fertilization, we're product of conceptions, according to the different organizations and psychologists. And now we're going to Dr. Landrum Settles. According to Dr. Landrum Settles, also referred as father of in vitro fertilization, in his comment to the landmark of US, that state that conception confers life and makes life one of a kind. So confers is to discuss something important. So it is very important. Life is very important. Life is one of a kind, according to Landrum Settles. So atong nabatian pareha sa mga idea ang mga philosophers, organizations, and physicians na ang kinabuhi hindi ka na kinabuhi is from conceptions and fertilizations. The only fertilization concept